Imagine a ship lost at sea, completely intact, fully loaded with supplies. Yet every single person on board had vanished without a trace. This is the story of the Mary Celeste, the greatest maritime mystery in history. A ghost ship found drifting in the Atlantic in 1872, with no one anywhere to be found, and no explanation that makes sense. To understand this mystery, we need to meet the Mary Celeste and the people who sailed her. The Mary Celeste was a 100-foot merchant brigantine. Built in Nova Scotia in 1861, she'd had a troubled history running aground, catching fire and passing through several owners. Some sailors whispered she was cursed, but Captain Benjamin Spooner Briggs didn't believe in curses. The 37-year-old master mariner was experienced, religious, and known for running a tight ship. For this voyage, he made an unusual decision. He brought his wife Sarah and their 2-year-old daughter Sophia. His crew consisted of 7 experienced sailors. On November 7, 1872, the Mary Celeste departed New York Harbor, bound for Genoa, Italy. Her hold carried 1,701 barrels of commercial alcohol denatured ethanol used in fortifying wine. It was valuable cargo, and the voyage should have been routine. Captain Briggs' last log entry was dated November 25th. They were approaching the Azores. The weather had been rough, but nothing the crew couldn't handle. And then, silence. 9 days later, Captain David Morehouse of the Dei Gratia spotted the Mary Celeste. Morehouse actually knew Captain Briggs. They'd dined together before leaving New York. As his ship approached, Morehouse grew concerned. The Mary Celeste was yawing wildly, her sails in disarray. He hailed the ship repeatedly. No response. He sent his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, with 2 crew members to investigate. What they found was deeply unsettling. The ship was in reasonable condition, though she'd taken on some water, about 3.5 feet in the hold. Several sails were damaged or missing. The ship's single lifeboat was gone, torn from its davits. A frayed rope trailed behind in the water. Below deck, everything was eerily orderly. The cargo was secure, though 9 of the barrels were empty or damaged. The crew's belongings were neatly stowed, pipes still on bunks, boots lined up, oilskins hanging. In the captain's cabin, the sewing machine was set up with Sarah Briggs' work still in it. Sophia's toys lay in the cabin. The ship's navigation equipment was missing. The sextant, chronometer, and ship's papers were gone, except for the logbook. The last entry read, at 5 a.m., made the island of St. Mary's bearing east-southeast. Nothing indicated panic or emergency. There was 6 months' worth of food and fresh water aboard. But Captain Briggs, his wife, his daughter, and all 7 crew members had disappeared. 10 people vanished into the Atlantic. The Dei Gratia towed the Mary Celeste to Gibraltar, where a salvage hearing became an international sensation. The court needed to determine what happened and whether foul play was involved. Some officials were immediately suspicious. Why had the crew of the Dei Gratia been so lucky to find an abandoned ship? Could this be an insurance fraud or even mutiny and murder? They inspected every inch of the vessel, even testing suspicious stains that turned out to be fruit preserves. But no evidence of violence was ever found. The Mary Celeste was awarded to the Dei Gratia crew as salvage, though they received far less than they'd hoped. So what happened? For 150 years, people have proposed theories. Piracy? Unlikely. Nothing was stolen. The cargo was valuable and untouched. Pirates don't leave treasure behind. Mutiny? Again, no evidence of struggle, no blood, no bodies. And why would mutineers abandon a seaworthy ship with food and water? Sea monster or giant squid? Popular in Victorian times, but pure fantasy. There would have been damage or signs of attack. Waterspout or rogue wave? Could a sudden phenomenon have swept everyone overboard? Possible, but why was the ship still orderly? Why were the hatches battened down? Underwater earthquake? Some theorists suggest a seismic event could have convinced the crew the ship was breaking apart, causing them to abandon ship prematurely. But there's no record of such activity. The most credible theory centers on the cargo itself. Remember those 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol? 9 were found empty or damaged. Modern experts believe this might be the key. Commercial alcohol produces highly flammable and explosive vapors. If barrels were leaking or had been damaged in rough seas, these vapors could have accumulated below deck. In the enclosed hold, the fumes would have been overwhelming and potentially deadly. Here's the likely scenario. Captain Briggs ordered the main hatch open to ventilate the hold. Perhaps there was even a minor vapor explosion, not big enough to damage the ship significantly, but enough to create a frightening boom and potentially a flash of flame. Red stains found in the hold might have been residue from this. Fearing a catastrophic explosion, Briggs made a split-second decision. He ordered everyone into the lifeboat, planning to stay at a safe distance until the danger passed. They took the navigation instruments, the ship's papers, and attached a rope to maintain connection with the Mary Celeste. But here's where tragedy struck. The rope frayed or broke. Perhaps in rough seas, perhaps because it wasn't strong enough. The De Gratia crew found this frayed rope trailing in the water. Suddenly, the lifeboat was adrift in the Atlantic. The Mary Celeste drifted away on the current. 10 people in a small boat hundreds of miles from land. Watching their ship, their safety, their food, their water, disappear over the horizon. No lifeboat from the Mary Celeste was ever found. No bodies ever recovered. Captain Briggs, Sarah, little Sophia, and the 7 crew members were lost to the sea. The Mary Celeste herself continued sailing under different owners, though her reputation as a cursed ship followed her. In 1885, her final captain deliberately wrecked her on a reef off Haiti in an insurance fraud scheme. Even in death, the Mary Celeste was surrounded by controversy. The mystery captured the Victorian imagination and never let go. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote a sensationalized story about the ship that invented many false details that still circulate today. Dozens of books, documentaries, and investigations have tried to solve the puzzle. Some mysteries gain power from their impossibility. The Mary Celeste mystery endures because it's almost solvable. All the pieces are there: the abandoned ship, the missing lifeboat, the damaged cargo barrels. We can construct a logical explanation, but we'll never know for certain what Captain Briggs was thinking in those final moments. We'll never hear Sarah Briggs' voice as she gathered her daughter. We'll never know if the crew died quickly in the waves or suffered days of thirst and desperation in that small boat. 10 lives swallowed by the ocean, leaving behind only an empty ship drifting silently under sail. The Mary Celeste reminds us that the ocean keeps its secrets. Even in the age of modern technology, ships still disappear, planes vanish, and people are lost without explanation. In 2001, a documentary team claimed to have found the wreckage of the Mary Celeste's lifeboat off the coast of Haiti. The evidence was inconclusive. Perhaps that's fitting. Some stories aren't meant to have neat endings. Some mysteries are meant to haunt us, to remind us that for all our knowledge and certainty, the world still holds darkness we cannot penetrate. The Mary Celeste sails on in our imagination, a ghost ship crewed by questions without answers, drifting endlessly through the fog of history. What really happened on that November day in 1872? The Atlantic Ocean knows, and it's not telling.